today we're going to be taking a look at number one major nonconformity that has been identified in third-party audits to IATF 16949 over the last 12 months. And the number one nonconformity is actually against an ISO 9001 clause, 10.2.1, nonconformity and corrective action. Devin, I wonder if you can give us a little bit of an insight as to the intent of this requirement.
The rationale behind this is the problem-solving processes are expected to, at a minimum, contain immediate nonconformities, detect root causes, and prevent reoccurrences.
Right. Okay. So that sounds quite straightforward. And I guess this is for any type of nonconformity that may occur within the organization. For example, customer complaints, internal production issues, internal audit nonconformities. Am I right in thinking that is the scope of this requirement?
Yes, that is correct. It's all types of nonconformities that are found within the manufacturing processes.
Okay, so it sounds quite straightforward what the intent of the requirement is. Now, why do you think then this is coming as number one major nonconformance that is being found globally in third-party audits?
That is a great question. And it's difficult to know exactly why this is the biggest issue. The immediate conclusion is almost to feel that it is because organisations have not got effective problem-solving processes in place.
But that's surprising because obviously the intent of this requirement has been around since the beginning of the IATF 16949 scheme. Do we think it is a skill gap in the automotive supply chain? Do you think that is a potential issue here?
Yes, I think it is. I think there's a couple of things. I think because of the way the rules of the IATF scheme require nonconformities to be upgraded and from minor to major and additional major nonconformities on this particular clause to be raised. So that will give us, by definition, an increase in the frequency of this clause becoming a major nonconformity. But ultimately it boils down to the problem-solving processes of the organisation not being effective. And again, I'm interested to try and understand why that is. Is it because there is not clear expectation on what the problem-solving process should be doing? It would be good to get some input on this.
So, Devin, from your point of view then, when we look at clause 10.2.1, obviously there's a lot of sub-requirements within there. If you had to pick one, what aspect of problem solving do you think needs to be improved the most?
They're not finding the true systemic problem, right? They're addressing an issue, but they're not looking through their total QMS and finding exactly what in the quality management system is causing this issue, which a lot of times leads auditors to raise maybe a minor to a major when they come back and find that, okay, you weren't able to properly close this.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point. And now, from your perspective then, we said at the beginning that this requirement covers things like customer-related issues, but also internal issues. Do you think companies put an equal weight on those different types of nonconformities, or do you think there is more problem with one than the other?
I think there are differences. I think sometimes if organisations responded to internal issues in the way that they do to customer issues, then that I think that would make a really big difference. For me, it boils down to the sort of basic requirements of clarification. Do I understand the problem? Can I define it clearly? Containment, how am I going to contain the problem? Root cause analysis, so do I understand how that problem has arisen? Corrective action, what am I going to do to fix it? And then the sort of prevention. And just by applying what is, I think, essentially a fairly basic process, organisations should be able to effectively deal with the issues that arise from, as you said, Paul, internal audit findings, customer audit findings, internal production problems, whatever the issue is. That same approach should be able to be applied to help understand it and fix it from and prevent it, which is the key to all of this stuff from happening again.
So maybe let's just summarize then. So in the last 12 months against clause 10.2.1, there's been over 1,200 major nonconformities raised, which would have meant that these organizations go into suspension. What we're trying to encourage you here as organizations to consider is, have you got a robust problem-solving process to deal with customer-related issues, internal issues, and internal audit nonconformities? And have you got people with the right competency to ensure that the problem-solving process works effectively?